Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of I Am I. My name is Joshua Ansley, and today we're going to talk about freedom within the form, right? So recently I talked about moksha, freedom, right? It's one of the four main goals of Hindu life, and they all function as sort of a system of checks and balances, right? So but I think that aside from that modality, which is just one that I have a particular proclivity for, right? But I really study all kinds of things. I think that there's an inherent space in human nature, in the human soul that just wants to be free, right? And it really is, I think, that space that is already free within us that relative to this human form can actually feel very restricted. I have a lot of friends that are very deep into spiritual work, and they see this lower body, the denser physical body and the mind as something that is profane, right? And something to be escaped from. Now, I'm not going to tell people to not be doing that, because whatever extreme you need to go to, because it is so extreme how entangled we are and enmeshed with this physical reality, that it's actually, in some ways, can be very beneficial to go that far. Although I think it's spiritual bypass, because what I teach and what my understanding is heaven on earth. So it is reaching that freedom and then allowing that freedom to shine through the prism of who we are, this form of who we are in this body, in this mind, and have it come out into this world, right? So it's not about shunning the physical, and it's not just about finding the freedom and then bringing it into the form as if it's some duty or responsibility. That's fine, but actually understanding how this form can actually, instead of being restrictive, it can actually be a way to find the freedom, right? Instead of being restriction, it can be a means towards self-expression. So that happens on the yoga mat, definitely, right? When we start to learn a form, though, it can feel very restricted, it feel awkward, or martial arts, any sort of kata, and suddenly you're moving your body in a particular way, right? And it feels very restricted, mostly because we've never done it before, and we don't have an awareness of how to do it, and it can be very frustrating, right? But then once we become comfortable within that form, once we stay steady within that form and easy within ourselves, then that form can now actually be used as a deeper form of self-expression. So when we stop necessarily shunning the form and we start to understand it, even ones that would typically be perceived as restrictive, right? Whether it be in work, a deadline or something like that, where if we can change our perspective and actually allow these forms to actually evoke the best possible parts of ourselves. So instead of turning it into, oh shit, I have a fucking deadline, you can see it as a game, as a sort of a fun thing, right? And now I get it, like we have deadlines and they're a fucking pain in the ass. And it's like, well, let's be fucking real. Okay, I understand that, right? But this is about change. This is about transformation. This is about how to live your life in a better way. This is about using that form. So a perfect example would be anxiety or fear or doubt, any of these forms that come into our minds, right? And it is a particular form, because basically what's happened is when we have anxiety, we're like a spring, right? And when the spring in its full expression, in its full open space, there is no tension, there is no pressure. But we have allowed all this tension and pressure to compress us. It's all self-imposed. Now, it may be imposed by the external world, but we have allowed that external world to compress us into a space, right? Instead of actually living outwardly, right? From a space inward and letting it move outward, right? Through this form, we've allowed our form to be compressed by everything that's happening. So when we move into a space in this form, so we can move into our anxiety, the anxiety is now a guide, something that we can use, so we can use the form to be able to listen, to look at the form, so see what that anxiety is telling us, actually see what that anxiety is coming from. Why are you anxious, right? And start to probe into yourself and understand what that form is giving you. Same thing with relationships or healthy boundaries, right? So if we have healthy boundaries, we can actually find more freedom from setting boundaries. So most of us would just be like, oh, I want this freedom, this open free-for-all, and it's like we're not recognizing that doesn't work in this form. Because I don't give a fuck how spiritual you are and how deep you are into it. Why the hell would you consider this profane? If your only understanding of this is profane, then you're going to have a negative inclination towards it, right? That doesn't mean you can't have, and that's why this is just my teaching, because some people might need to do that, because they are fucking ascending. Maybe they're going to rise up with this body into fucking heaven. I've had some crazy spiritual experiences. I mean, out of this fucking world, more than most people I've ever met. Like spiritual, fucking out of body experiences, you know, without any fucking drugs or anything like that, completely awake and aware, not in half lucid thing. I'm talking about completely aware. And I still am saying that it's about reaching and attaining that space and then bringing it into this world. But more so in a reciprocal relationship. So I always teach about getting into that space of understanding that we are whole, healed, and complete already, and then bringing that into the world. But it's also understanding about how to use this world to get into that space. It's a little more tantric than it is Vedantic, right? It's moving backwards because there is a reciprocal relationship. So you can keep that cycle going and understanding that this physical body is a beautiful thing. And we can allow it to help us express ourselves more deeply, because it does express. You don't even know that your posture and how you carry yourself and everything, even subtly or not, is expressing something about yourself on deeper and deeper levels, right? So using this form in some way to be able to have it as an expression. So even the breath that comes in, that life that comes in to these lungs and fills and opens up into the rhythm, which is a form. This is how we get to appreciate the beauty and the subtlety of art and rhythm and movement and dance and painting and sculpture and anything that is a little bit more subtle, that indicates an expression of something deeper, right? A rhythm of the up and down, rise and fall of the breath. If you can step into that rhythm and allow that rhythm to allow your personal rhythm, because that teaching about not being personal at all, that we are all one, is absolutely beautiful. And we are all absolutely individual and one of a kind. There is absolutely no one like you. Right? And the world, and even that teaching that tries to make us all singular and in that singularity, but this in singularity, it's actually an inclusion of the duality. Singularity does not exclude duality. Singularity is all of it. So it includes the duality. So while we are all absolutely one, and there is no gender, and there is no race, there is also gender, and there is also race. And there is absolute inequality, and it needs to be addressed in this world as we take action and understand other people and understand ourselves on deeper levels through the form that we have as we work into this world. And this is working towards how to be an activist or active in this world without letting it tear us down. Like I said, I have a lot of also like vegan friends, right? I don't give a fuck whether you're vegan or not. I really don't give a shit. What do you want to do with your life? I mean, don't get me wrong. If you and I were stranded in the Swiss Alps and you died, I would definitely cut a huge chunk of your ass off and eat the fuck out of it, all right? Because I recognize that I cannot change other people. I ain't trying to change other people. I'm trying to live the fullest possible life that I can in this form, and understanding this form and how this form relates to others, right? So this is a way to understand veganism. These friends that I have that it tears them apart, and I understand because I've been through this process too. Awakening sucks. Awakening is miserable when you start to become conscious and aware of things. You're like, oh, now I gotta do this. Well, you don't have to fucking do anything. You can keep destroying the world if you want. Like these fucking K-cups. Do you even recognize, do you know that in like 2014, there was enough K-cups used to go around the world like 6 fucking times or some shit? The guy who invented the Keurig it's like the inventor of the atom bomb, which is like, holy fuck, what did I do? And he completely regrets doing it, how terrible it is. Or fucking water bottles. How many goddamn, do you use plastic water bottles? I mean, it's fucking insane. Make some fucking changes. But seriously, just do the best you can. I mean, if you need a bottle of water, just take a bottle of water. Right? But this is about taking action in this dualistic form. It's not about ignoring this space. That's fine if you want to live on a mountaintop. I'm talking to the people that are actually going to stay living in this world, which is, I think, you and you and you and you and you and anybody watching this fucking video. Nobody's climbing to the top of a mountain, right? So it's how to actually be then in this world, but not of it, right? So it's how to be in that space of freedom, but actually how to use the world to attain that freedom. It's how to use the world to actually push us into a place of deeper self-expression. And so when we move into a deeper space where anxiety or fear or doubt starts to come up, that is an opportunity. That is an opportunity to, whether it be express ourselves deeper or to set another boundary or to do something in some way that will help us open up into deeper levels of who we are and express more fully this life in who you are, so you can live the fullest possible fucking life right now, today, in this world, today! Alright, Keshe. I am you, you are me. Namaste. Freedom! In the form. Peace.
too much.